Welcome to episode 317 of the Thunder Underground podcast. Trent and Jason here as always. And this week we've got not only a lengthy one, but a great one. We've got the return of Trevor William Church to our podcast. And we had him on here early in 2020, pre-pandemic, and now here we are.
Almost post-pandemic.
Yeah, later parts of the pandemic.
Right.
With Trevor back, so we got some of that stuff to talk about. And of course, Hans got a brand new album as well.
Beautiful Distraction. It's a great record. And it was really fun talking to him. Never a shortage of subjects to go over.
Oh, that's for sure. And we're going to get into that here shortly. But first, we need to let you know who we're always sponsored by, and that would be DEB Concerts. Promoter based right here in Tulsa that's brought tons of great stuff to the downtown area. They also book the Roadhouse stage at Rocklahoma every year. So we should have that to talk about here coming up soon when that lineup comes out for September. But in the meantime, DEB Concerts is bringing Brett Scallions, the vocalist of Fuel, to the Ideal Ballroom on June 19th. And our good friends in Grind will be opening that show. That'll be a great double bill of some great music out there at the Ideal Ballroom. And then the very next week, the following Saturday, June 26th, Lita Ford will be returning to the Ideal Ballroom. That'll be another great show as well, and I believe Eddie Trunk is hosting both of those. So get out there, talk to Eddie Trunk, get your picture taken. You can see all these shows and any future announcements at debconcerts.com, and also follow them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and let them know we sent you. We've also got MedFarm, a dispensary located in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Hey, 420 was just this past Tuesday, so hopefully you got your fix in that situation to whoever's listening. But if you didn't, what you need to do is get over to MedFarm. They've got a drive-through. You can call ahead or text ahead. So all you got to do is pull up there. You can be in and out pretty quick. You can also see their entire selection ahead of time at leafly.com. And all the other information about their business is at medfarmok.com. That's PHARM. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram. MedFarmOK. They are cannabis with a cause because 30% of their proceeds are going to build no-kill animal shelters, which is an amazing cause. That means almost a third of what they sell, the profits are going to build these no-kill animal shelters. So that's another major reason to support these guys. And finally, if you mention that you heard about them on Thunder Underground, they'll give you 10% off your first order, which is very cool as well. Follow them on their socials because they're always running other orders as well. And a huge thank you to MedFarm. We've also got Sunset Tattoo right here in Midtown Tulsa. Jake Thompson does some amazing work. You can see all of that at Sunset Tattoo Tulsa on Facebook and Sunset Tattoo Tulsa on Instagram. If you get a hold of him ahead of time, you can set up a time to give him a call or go see him in person to talk about what work you need to have done. I've had work done from him, and I'm very happy with it. We know other people that have. Maybe Jason will be soon. We don't know.
Someday soon.
Yeah. He's going to get the cover of Pyromania tattooed on his back. It's going to be fucking great.
I can't wait.
That target right there?
Right.
Yeah.
Totally.
But Jake's tattoos are done good and proper. He's state licensed, and he is mother approved. If you've ever met Jake Thompson in person, you will know that 100% that man is mother approved. So get over to Sunset Tattoo Tulsa and tell him we sent you. Finally, we've got Hella Hot Sauce, a company located out of the San Francisco Bay Area. They make small batch artisan hot sauces. You can see the entire line at hellahotsauce.com. Their socials, their Facebook and Instagram are also Hella Hot Sauce. They do collaborations with some metal artists, in fact, that we've had on this podcast. They've got a sauce called Brain Jerk with Ghoul. Digestive from Ghoul was on this podcast. And they've also got a sauce with Florida Frank, the guitarist for Hatebreed. Florida Frank has been on here as well. That sauce is called Florida Frank's Florida Heat. And that stuff's really good, but it's really damn hot. The Hella Hot is not a joke. Give these guys a follow. Buy you some stuff if you're out there on the West Coast. You can buy it in stores anywhere else. You can buy it online and have it shipped to you. A huge thank you to Hella Hot Sauce. All right. So before we get into this hunt, I don't think there's, this is so long we're not going to go into much other stuff, but
no,
other than the Third Eye Blind song came out last Friday, and I know you're pumped.
God. I didn't even... surely you're joking.
Yeah, I just made up a random 90s band. Sorry.
Yeah, right. Right. But anyways, yes, Haunt, the brainchild of Trevor Church. I think probably the only thing I would add is since this interview, he talked about Andy joining him in the touring lineup. Well, he's posted a picture.
I saw that, yeah.
So, check that out and see kind of the new lineup, and they're still looking for a bass player, so that's cool. And, I really like what he's doing with Beautiful Distraction and kind of where his songwriting is going, and with the synths and stuff. That's really adding a lot. And, I think the vision becomes clearer with every release that he does. And this is just Beautiful Distraction is just a great record. Great record. I don't know what else to tell you. Just listen to all this that we go into. Yeah, that's pretty much all I'd have to say.
Yeah, this band's great. And like you said, that's a great point, is that we're seeing it develop in time because he's putting out so many releases in such a short period of time.
Right.
Like, what was Beautiful Distraction, the sixth album? Does that sound right?
I thought he said he was at 8.
8? Okay.
I don't know.
Well, regardless, we're at 6 to 8 albums in, 5 years?
Right.
Since he started the Haunt project after Beastmaker was done.
Yeah.
And, that's the level that most artists don't even do 8 albums in their fucking career.
Yeah.
And he's done it in a span of time that, like, Jimi Hendrix would put out all his albums, or...
Exactly.
All the classic Zeppelin albums or Van Halen albums in the early days all came out really quickly, and so normally to see that, we've really seen it when we went back over these artists with our every album in a row thing we do. And you see the progression of an artist, but you have to look at it over 20, 30 years of time.
Yeah.
With him, you're seeing it right in front of your eyes.
Right. It's prolific. The drive is just unbelievable. He's got so much drive. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll tell you a short story here real quick. Is the first thing that this conversation opens up with is a lot of talk about poop and bathrooms. Bathrooms in Europe especially.
Right.
And just overseas and that kind of thing. And Trevor was talking about some of that stuff. So this past week I went to Mexico. And I think when I got there I sent you and Jason a picture of Cabo Wabo thing, and someone else something, and the very next person I sent something to was Trevor, because the first bathroom I went into had the flush thing was like separate from the toilet, and it was like a foot pedal thing that was like, like it wasn't just like an extra option. That was the way you flushed it.
Right.
And I'm like, this is, in my head, I'm like, this is how toilets should always be, but it just kind of went into exactly what we talked about.
Yeah.
And so I just sent him
always use your foot in a public,
Yeah. And he's just like, that just seems like so much extra work for the plumber. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not complaining to my physician right now.
That's great.
Yeah. But so there you go. So once you get through the first 10 or so minutes of our poop talk here, we'll get into the heart of Trevor's music. So let's jump into it. Here's Trevor William Church of Haunt.
Walking my boy, he was going crazy earlier, screaming at me for chocolate. And I was just like, oh my God. I was like, I have this interview with my wife. Today's the first day back for teachers and students. I don't know if you guys knew that in California right now, but
okay.
Today is the first official day that kids are in school.
Oh, wow.
So my wife is so stressed out, so she's not even home. She was supposed to be. So I'm on a little stroll right now through Fresno.
What?
Strolling with my boy.
Right on.
Are you taking him to get chocolate?
Yeah, he's got pickles now. He's settled.
Oh, okay.
Good.
He settled for pickles. So I was like, oh, thank God. Like, I'm like, don't eat all my chocolates because I got hella good ass Dove chocolates. And I'm like, they're so wasted on you. You don't even know how delicious Dove chocolate is yet. I know you know, but like, he doesn't get it. I'm like, man, these are like expensive, bro. This is dad's snack. This isn't baby snack.
Right.
Soon he will know.
Baby snack. Well, he's not a baby anymore, but you know, they kind of are your baby no matter what. He's technically a toddler. So.
What's he like? 2 now? 2 or 3?
You know, he's going to be 2 in 3 months.
Okay.
So they're technically a toddler after a year. Once they're 1 year old, it's like boom, I guess. No longer a baby.
Yeah, I think last time we talked to you, you were like leaving the doctor with him, and that was like early 2020, so he would have been like less than a year old at that point.
Probably, man. It's hard to say because what he was there for. He was born July 7th, 2019. So around that time, who knows? I don't know what could have happened. He's a little buddy. He had a cast on for the last month, and he still has one. He got into some glass and cut his finger.
Oh, wow.
Cut his finger so deep it nicked the bone and severed a tendon.
Holy crap.
I was just like, dude, and they full arm cast for the little guy. Full arm cast for your finger, man. Can you imagine?
I guess
because
when you're that small,
yeah, they don't have wrists, so the freaking thing will just fall off, and so I'm like, oh my god, he just got it off yesterday, actually.
Oh wow!
It was the first time I seen his hand in a month, man. I was like, whoa, is it still there? I'm like, wonder what he thought. You know, you think about like the mind of a kid. It's like, you know, he doesn't really understand all the ways of the world yet. And here he has this hand, and then all of a sudden he has this big ass club of a cast, and he has no hand. He's like, oh, I guess this is how life is going to be now.
Right.
You know, so it's just it's like a totally different mindset than what like an adult would be like. You'd be like, oh shit, man, I got fucking cast. This shit sucks. Baby's like, well, okay, well, this sucks. I thought I had a hand there, but I'm just gonna go on, you know. And it's really weird how resilient kids are and shit. And just like, oh, I'd be tore up, man. Tore up emotionally.
Yeah, same here.
You know, I'm like, cast for a month, bro. What kind of year is a fucked up year, man? But baby is like, well, I guess you took away my hand. I don't get it anymore. I got this weird club thing here, so. Ooh, dude, it's getting summertime. I don't know what it's like where you guys are from, but man.
Yeah, we're out here in the Midwest in Oklahoma, and it's the last few weeks have been really nice. We're starting to get back into some good weather finally.
Yeah, you guys get snow though. Here we're about to hit the heat.
Yeah.
Desert heat, man. We're gonna be at like 100 degrees within maybe probably a month from now, like every day.
Right.
Yeah, we're usually like late June, July is whenever we get that. But Jason's originally from California, so he knows. Well, you were pretty young. But...
Moved here when we were 2. So
oh, 2, never mind.
Well, you don't know shit. You don't remember 2? You're resilient, and you could have your arm in a cast.
Right, yeah.
You would have no emotional repercussions whatsoever.
Right.
You're just like, I'm good, dude. Everybody's feeding me. My ass is hella white, clean. I got a fresh diaper. Like
that was life.
Good. I mean, imagine having to wipe your ass with your left fucking hand for a month, dude.
Hey, I'm left-handed, so that's natural.
Well, then, okay, the other hand. I mean,
right hand, Trent.
Imagine wiping your ass with your other hand for a month.
I
You
know.
have to like relearn how to wipe your ass, dude.
Yeah.
It's like a whole new ass wiping experience. You're like, oh, well, okay, how do I spread my cheek a little bit to get this fucking shit off me?
Maybe there's a
Fucking
YouTube video tutorial.
Dude, shitting is the worst thing that like ever could have happened to man. I think it's the punishment of the fucking world. I'm just like, yeah, you feel relief, but what if you didn't even feel it anymore? You
That's a
know,
great
it's
point.
just like you didn't have to. You're like, all right, I don't have to do this fucking deed every day.
I agree.
For the rest of my life.
I hate
It
it
would be
too.
real nice. It reminds me of like the old Anne Rice novels where like the vampire Lestat would talk about like, I think it was this book she had called Tales of the Body Thief. I was really into Anne Rice when I was like a teenager. And Lestat, his vampire body was stolen. He was in a mortal body, and he had to like shit, and he just was like, oh my god, it's this horrible like thing that these humans do. It's disgusting. And you're just like, yeah, it's the fucking worst. And then when you're on the road, that's like a whole other world of just like, all right, where am I shitting today, man? Here we go. You know, it's all about. I think on tour, it's all about finding a place to take a shit. I don't really care about anything else usually. Like, where am I shitting today?
See,
the first thing I want to know, where am I taking a shit? Because it better be clean. I don't want to go shit in this dirty ass venue and some shit in some hostel. It's like Europe's the worst. America, our bathrooms are pretty legit, but some of the like, I don't know, there's some interesting type venues we played some squats and stuff in Europe, and it's just like, the fuck is this? You gotta take a shit in this? Like, what? And then when there's like a string hanging down from the ceiling, you're just like, what? Where am I? Like, you don't have just a flush? Like, where's the fucking knob to flush it? Why do you have to have a string coming out the ceiling? Like, how is that a better thing? Like, can you explain to me the engineering of why you would even have that?
It just seems 10 times as complicated as the regular system.
I mean, you have to like run the fucking, you have to run the string to some sort of like valve that opens when it gets pulled, and it's like, why not just have it on the goddamn toilet? And then some of the places have these weird things that are on the wall. You like push the wall. Have you guys ever been to Europe?
Yeah. I've been to a few countries.
Have you experienced that?
Not the string thing.
You've experienced pushing the button on a wall then?
Yes. Yeah.
Isn't it weird? You're like, why?
Yeah.
And then there's two buttons. One is like a small flush, and then the other is like if you took a shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, why do you need... I mean, it's just weird. It's like piss isn't as important. You're just like, well, okay, the piss, if I only flush a little bit of it, it's okay, but the shit has to go down. And here's a true story. We stayed in a town called Nijverdal in the Netherlands, and they got us it was not a bad place. It was a really nice, like, kind of like RV park ordeal, like hotels, kind of like getaway place. It was really nice. I mean, for Americans, you stay in an RV park, that's usually pretty bad. But this is in Nijverdal, the Netherlands, where it's just like beautiful, and they don't have methamphetamines. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
you don't have the RV park that was like, fuck, it's luxury, man. I could live here. But the toilet, I go in this place, man, and the fucking there's all this stuff on the wall, all these instructions, and I could have swore it was a picture of a person with a piece of toilet paper, like, picking up the shit out of the toilet. And I was trying to figure out, I'm looking at this toilet, and I'm like, I already knew it wasn't a normal toilet because the hole was, like, so small. I was like, where's the shit go here? You just shit on a big old flat surface. There's no water. So it's really like you're taking a real fucking deep look at yourself. You're like, all right, what does it look like today? Oh God, what is this? And I'm like sitting there. I'm like, okay, do I fucking pick up my turd? What is this instructions? Like, I was trying to figure out. I was like, okay, so I pick up the shit out of the toilet and I put it in the garbage can. I'm like, why not just shit in the garbage can? Like, what?
Right.
What is this picture? And I sent a picture to the guys. I was like, what the fuck? Do I take the turd out? Like, I was like, seriously, it was so confusing. I was like, what is this fucking picture? Like, and then I'm sitting there like perplexed because I just literally shit on like a slab of porcelain with no water. I'm like, and it was pretty large. I mean, it was a good day. There was relief.
Impressive.
And yeah, it was. I was like, all right, that was a good one. And I'm sitting there going, how the fuck is this? How is this going to get down the hole? Like, is this a game? And then I decided, like, there was all this writing, so I decided to, like, Google Translate it and go, all right, I'm Google translating because I'm not getting an answer. And come to find, it's like a super water conservative toilet. Like, they try to, like, keep the water usage to a minimum. And I'm not fucking kidding you. But when it came time to flush the thing, it took like 7 flushes. I was like, water conservation, my ass. Like, I just flushed the toilet 7 times. The shit barely went down, and now there's a huge fucking line of shit stain smeared all over the toilet because of it. I'm like, this makes no sense how this is a good thing. You'd probably be better off shitting. And then on top of this, get this, you can't flush the toilet paper down. So you wipe your ass and throw it in the garbage can.
Right.
I'm just like, my God. We've just gone over the fucking rail of like, this is exactly what I don't need in my life. And I would never ever think about buying a toilet like that because Jesus, could you imagine cleaning that thing after a month?
You're right.
It'd just be the whole top of it would just be brown. You'd just have like a whole layer of shit on it. You're like, okay.
Well, then you got to take the trash out every damn day, or else it's going to smell like shit.
Mountain of shit I've accumulated, and then all the toilet paper. Oh my God! You're just like, all right, I gotta clean out. I mean, I'm bad enough. I don't know how you guys are cleaning your waste bin in your bathroom, but that's usually the last waste bin I ever look at.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, it would just be filled with shitty toilet paper. I mean, that is just embarrassing. If somebody comes over and they're like, oh, I gotta throw something away, and then you open it and you just see like your fucking defecation, your gross like shit toilet paper. You're like, well, welcome to Neighbordall.
Yeah.
Suffer for your art, man.
Yeah, so that is nothing. There's nothing musical about that, other than it was on the road.
Right.
While playing music has nothing to do with anything significant, but it's always a good story because it's one of those things that us like Americans take for granted while we're touring here, talking shit about the tour here. Oh, fucking gross gas station. And at least when you take a shit, you hear the pump. And then it flushes down, no problem, every time.
Right.
Never a problem. Never a flush issue. And, you know, like in Europe, you almost have to be a fucking karate ninja to cook the fucking wall to flush it because it doesn't have your fucking, I don't know about you guys, but I don't be fucking touching the flusher at a gas station.
Right.
Everything's done to foot.
Yeah.
Always
I
use your
wipe my
foot.
ass with my foot if it was possible. I would literally wipe my ass with my foot if I could do it. You know, on the road. I'm like, oh man, like touching all this stuff, and I'm gonna fucking touch my asshole right now. Well, not touch it, but get near it. And you know, but it's the little conveniences that we tend to you know, maybe I miss it. Maybe that's why I'm talking about it. I'm like, man, COVID, man, I've been stuck inside for like a year. Wish I could take a shit somewhere where I can flush the fucking toilet with my foot.
Right.
You know, it's like, I'm like, I can't wait, man. Can't wait for these days.
Speaking of that, I mean, how close do you think it's all getting to, you know, being back full tilt again?
I don't know about anything about full, but I can tell you that
Right, yeah.
I had booked a tour in April, and I thought that was a realistic tour because I know we'll probably play a little bit this year, I mean, I really want to go play because I had to get a whole new live band put together. Basically, COVID left me without band. Everybody kind of had their own thing that they wanted to go do in life, and it's like, hey, see you later, bye. I fired my drummer. We weren't really getting along. Never really got along that well. It's kind of Fresno's a really interesting place when it comes to musicians. There's not really a big selection.
Right.
And so you try to find the best here. And if you're lucky, you can put a band together and go. But I'm kind of a crazy person in a sense, because I have to have control of my music. I don't really like collaborating or jamming or any of that shit. Just doesn't do anything for me. I'm like, in my 20s, I used to love getting together, jamming, and hanging out. But, I'm a dad and all that shit. And, even before that, I didn't, non-dad, I was the same way. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to write songs today. And I write songs. It's like, why would I wait to play with other people? So that kind of thing just really started. It's kind of how I started Haunt anyway, because it was alone, It's like, well, I'm going to write this because I have my other band. And, but, it's really important to I remember those first shows, the first shows Haunt ever did. And I already had an album out, which kind of made it a little bit more stressful because there was a little steam on Luminous Eyes. Fenris and Dark Throne had blogged about it. It was doing pretty good. And then, there was okay, now you have to put a band together and play shows. And I was like, fuck. And oh man, some of those first shows, they weren't bad by any means because I picked good musicians, but they weren't great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a lot of sloppiness. It's awkward cues. The first bass player we had didn't work out, and I had to fire him. It's been really weird being the guy that fired people. To be honest with you, it's been a very bizarre thing, and I think it's gonna. I'll probably have to do this again at some point in time. Who knows? Because you have to play with people for a while, fill them out, and sometimes, things run their course. It's just how it is. Things run their course all the time. And you can't really look at it as a bad thing. It's only a bad thing if you lose the main person. Usually if somebody in a popular band, you lose the singer that was everybody loved the singer, you're pretty doomed, right? I mean, how often does a band get back on track from that?
Right.
Did you guys even think of one?
Well, outside of the obvious big ones like Van Halen or AC/DC, not really.
Okay, but look who fucking Van Halen got.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they were like, all right, we got Joe Schmo. They weren't fucking big.
Right.
They paid Sammy $3 million to join the band. I mean, and that was in 1984.
Yeah.
That's fucking $8 million in today's money. It's who would go? Even an already millionaire would be like, fuck, $3 million just to join?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, motherfucker. But
yeah, I mean,
I don't know about.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say I don't know about AC/DC, how they went about it, but
well, it's you're kind of right though. Apart from a few of the big bands that have done it, not many. It's some bands never recover from that kind of thing.
Never recover. It's like a thing, man. It's and then there's the other situation. It's the Def Leppard situation, I call it, where Steve Clark dies.
Mm-hmm.
He was I feel like he's the dude that had the riffs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He wrote the sick riffs. He put them on the fucking planet. As far as I'm concerned, they weren't shit till Steve Clark. And they even say that in their movie, basically. They're like, Steve Clark, just boom, the man, just ripped and songs got better. Good songs were written. You hear my son? He's going crazy right now. He's here. He wants to talk. He wants to get in on the conversation. He's okay, I hear you, Dad.
Right.
I hear you yapping nonstop all the time. But anyway, that scenario though, Steve Clark's scenario, you lose the riff master. You have the singer, but you lost the riff master. Then what?
Right.
you don't have the wrist master and you're doomed. So the only thing I have going for me really is that I am both.
Right.
You know, so it's like I can start over anytime, nothing changes except for the look on stage.
Well, from your end, would you prefer to obviously end up with a solid band of 3 guys that you could count on for years, or do you not mind just the rotating cast of band members with you?
I honestly, I mean, whatever arises is what I have to deal with.
Right.
And that's kind of the thing. There's some weird shit that like really went down the taunt that was always hard for me to kind of swallow is that, you know, I was kind of being told, like, you need to put together a band, you need to have the image of a band, you have to do this, you have to do that. And I was just kind of like, okay, you know, like people don't like solo projects, I guess, or something of that nature. Like they just don't have as much notoriety or something of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to kind of like base things off that, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna listen to you guys, and I mean, Burst in the Flame. If you look on the insert, not only did Daniel not play on the album, neither did Matt Wilhoit. So I got 2 guys that didn't even play on it on the insert, and it continued that way. And it's been very awkward for me because I'm like, well, I didn't really want to do it like that, but I was told it was the best way to go about it. So who knows? I mean, I really don't know if that made it work better. But I mean, it allowed me to go play live, and the guys I played with at the, you know, when we were going, it was cool. But again, this is not, you know, if you want creativity and you want like collaboration and you want like songwriting credit, Han is not the band for you.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? Like it's just not. And it never was, and I never was like, yeah, we're gonna like hang out, write music, collaborate, and like we'll party together and stuff. It's just not the formula of what I do. So it has been a little bit, it's been a little weird, and it's been a little challenge. And I think that it would be great to have dudes I can like rely on forever. Right now, I have a new drummer. And I have a new guitar player, and they both are really good dudes, good musicians. And I think they understand. Well, I have the drummer for Beastmaker, Andy. I brought him back. And he's he knows me really well. So we're actually been best friends for like the last 16 years. So hold on a second. Rex, what's wrong, buddy? What's wrong? Papa's right here. Anyway, we're strolling. He's probably getting pissed. He's like, how long is this stroll? How long are you going to have me in this stroller? But anyway, he kind of already knows what's up with me and how I operate and like what that entails, which is basically just like, you know, you got to kind of be in the Trevor show and just deal with whatever I'm doing. Just don't get in my way. Let me sail the ship to where we need to go.
Right.
Because that's when I work the best, is when I'm just like, don't have any headaches. I don't have anybody upset. You know what I mean? Like when people start getting like kind of, you know, you could kind of start tell when things aren't going right. And I could tell things were really going right with the last live band. And I was like, all right, well, something has to change here. And I had a long talk with John, and he left. He decided to quit. And at that point, I was like, all right, well, I saw that coming. I didn't see Taylor coming. I already knew I was going to fire Wolfie and replace him with Andy kind of beforehand, because we had been talking about it. And I was just like, I just want to get back out on the road with you. I think we just have more in common. We work hard. Like, we just have certain things where we're just like, the way that we are is, you know, he doesn't drink, doesn't really party. We're kind of the same person. We kind of got on that thing with like Beastmaker. We get up early, take care of ourselves, like make sure we have the energy to perform. And Everything was like cool. We'd always have a smile on. Everything was rad, you know? And we didn't really have that vibe with the haunt that existed, that everybody knows, because it just wasn't the best team. And I had to put together a better team, you know? Like, at the end of the day, it was like, okay, Trev, you need your partner in crime, you need your best friend, and that's why I let Wolfie go. We were just not cut of the same cloth, and I'm sure people, you know, want to know what the hell's going on, so I might as well, you know, tell people, because they haven't seen it yet. And maybe a lot of people haven't seen it because they haven't seen Haunt yet, or they're just finding out about Haunt. We're a fairly new band, you know, or whatever, fairly new project, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's just one of those things take their course. Members may come, members may go, but having Andy, I think he'll stay with me for quite a while. And I have a new guitar player. His name is also Andy. I have 2 Andys now. Fucking wrap that around your brain. Andy. You're just like, oh, shit. Fucking Andys everywhere. And so I got Andys everywhere now. And the other Andy's a really good friend of ours. And he actually went on a Beastmaker tour with us one time, did a bunch of photography and all kinds of stuff with us. And and he's a great guitar player, good dude. I hope he stays. It's like, I don't think you want anybody to leave. It's not like I wanted John or Taylor to leave.
Right.
It's just things kind of that, you know, Taylor left because he said he wanted to do his own thing and didn't see any incentive of being in Haunt. And I totally get it. Like if you want to be like the creative outlet, the creative drive of a project, you can't be in a band with me. You know what I mean? It's like, that's like it doesn't make any sense, like, at all. It's like, I always told the guys, though, like, if you guys write something and it rips and it's like Haunt style, bring it. You know what I mean? I never was like that, like, dictating when it comes to that. It was just more or less, my songs are done and they're done. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, I already wrote it. It's already written.
Yeah.
Nothing needs to be changed. So it just didn't make any sense. But to answer the question further, it just, yeah and no. It doesn't really matter that much. I would like it to stay relatively the same, because training people for a job is always shitty.
Yeah. You
know, I'm sure you guys have worked with people where you're like, all right, well, this person doesn't know shit, and I got to teach them how to do the job. That's going to make my job harder because I'm teaching them, and I got to pick up their slack right now.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Every day, man. Every day.
Every day? Oh,
yeah.
Fuck.
Almost.
Well, that's a whole other... Every day, that's fucking bullshit right there. I fucking... You need a new line of work if that's like... If you got to pick up all the slack and train every day,
it's
oh
like,
my God.
It's like at least a couple days out of the week. Yeah.
Oh.
So,
Well, I mean, I guess
what you mean.
If that's what it takes to do the job, what are you going
That's
to do?
That's
you
right.
Know? No choice. And it's exactly the same, and that answers the question within itself. What choice do I have? When somebody wants to bail, they're going to bail. You know, again, it's like things change. People's goals change. What they may have got in my band expecting something they didn't get. It's hard to say. But all I can say is this: once you're gone, you're gone. You know what I mean? Like, they're not coming back.
Right.
To me, it's like, all right, you guys are leaving me. I got to start training new people. Once that new person is sat down with me and learned something, and I'm teaching them, they're my guy now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and you're upfront about it, and you know you're laser focused, and I mean that's the best way to be about it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's like no hard feelings to these dudes, even though some of it was like shit.
Mhm.
I'm sure they have their opinion of me too. It's like whatever that might be, good or bad. But at the end of the day, I took them all to Europe twice. Took them to a bunch of festivals. I paid for all of it and paid them. So to me, that's not a bad gig.
Right.
I'm like, oh, you get to go to Europe and get paid? Fuck yeah, cool. Sign me up. I would go right now.
Yeah, same here.
You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I'm ready to go. Like, ticket to Europe and you're paying me to play guitar. The things I do best. Like, sign me up for the fucking tasks.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of how things. I didn't think it was going to be that soon, because I thought everything was kind of going on the up and up, and more money coming in for everybody to get paid and all that. But I guess it wasn't enough to keep everybody around. I think there's other things that come into play. Like I said, the creative side of maybe they want to do something on their own. They have their own sound, or they see how I do it, and they're like, well, this is easy. It's like, this is what Trevor does. All he does is just sit there and plays and writes songs, supports them, puts them on the internet, does a pre-sale, and then albums out. But it's a lot harder than that.
Yeah.
It might seem the formula might seem easy, but to get it out and get people to hear it, that's a whole other fucking ball game, man. You gotta convince people that you're good, and that's hard.
Right.
You're like, here, listen to my shit. You know how many people fucking send me shit? Listen to my shit. Listen to my shit. And I have this like tiny ass record label. I'm like, dude, I cannot take on anybody's band. Like, it's impossible. I've tried, but it's like, holy shit. It's like, I gotta actually promote your guys' shit and mine at the same time. It's like, it's kind of perplexing. I don't know how people like Fat Mike do it. They probably have hired people or something. Hold on a second. I'm gonna find my wife. Dude, I've been literally like carrying my kid halfway down the fucking block.
Wow.
Holy shit. And doing an interview. I think I should get extra credit points for I had a stroller, carrying my kid, and doing an interview at the same time.
Well, we appreciate it.
When people are like, how do you get all this shit done? I'm the fucking supreme multitasker.
Yeah.
Seriously, I could do. And that's how life is. If you're not up for the fucking challenges that are going to be there in the music world, especially if you're a guitar-oriented band, because let's face it, guitar-oriented music is not exactly like the world's favorite thing.
Right.
I'm here. We're on a walk. But anyway, okay. Now I'm relieved of that command. Jesus. That was I mean, dude, my left arm just got like 3 inches bigger right now. But that's how it goes, man. That's how it goes. I don't even want to know what kind of day my wife has, because I can only imagine. First day is anything new. She's been teaching for a long time, but like the way they're doing it, she has to be on camera for the kids that aren't in school, and apparently she couldn't even move today. She had to like sit in the same spot. It's like, what? And then there was some feedback, is what I heard earlier. I don't know how the rest of her day went on, but yeah. So I don't know I still don't have a bass player. What we've done is I've hooked up my computer to my bass amp, and our set literally is like the bass just plays. We have like my drummer wears in-ear monitors, so he has the click track going. So we just start, he knows when to start the song, and you just press the space bar, and then we have bass. That's been how we've been doing it right now. But we have to be sharp. I don't know that many bands are practicing right now. I've talked to a lot of bands, and nobody's really rehearsing. And, I've been rehearsing for like the last 3 months, because I was like, well, all the bands that are bands have bands. I have to put together a band of new people, learn new material, and feel everybody out. You know, it's kind of an awkward thing. But now that I've done it, I'm like, okay, well, it could be done repeatedly if it's going to be something that I have to deal with in the future, which I might. I mean, again, I have big goals for myself. 20 album goal. That's a lot, and and I want that all done by the time I'm 47, which is crazy within its own right. So that's in 7 years, but I think with the output that I already have, it could be done. And then I want to sit back. I want to be producer, man. I want to produce bands and get younger bands going. You know what I mean? Like everything at a different angle. I still do records and stuff here and there, but like I'm gonna go hard until I reach that goal, and I want all the albums good. That's gonna be the hard part. All of them have to be good.
Is that so? You have a 20 album goal just with Haunt, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. At the rate you're going, you're on the way.
I'm on the way, but you know, it's to keep the momentum higher. Each time I do a record, it's like has to be better. That's a big task.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm gonna have to do some experimentation within it, yet keep it the same. You know what I mean? Keep the core elements there, but work around it. Find new ways of you know, intros, outros, things of that nature. Maybe some structuring things. It's usually just small stuff. Little subtle changes really make a vast impact. I feel like when I introduced keyboards into it, I felt like all of a sudden it's like, okay, now here's Haunt.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's like it added this element that really made it its own, and then I wrote it as well, so it's kind of made it even better. You know, it's like, oh wait, I could actually like, you know, have an album. I could have literally like one of these days it's going to happen. I'm going to remove all the guitar, and then there's a synth album.
Hey,
it's genius. It really is. It's like you guys think you're getting 20 albums, you're getting 40. You didn't even know. You know, it's like there's a whole other world to it that's like, okay. And I was also really thinking about, you know, dropping instrumental record, not instrumental as the sense of the album has no vocals, but take the vocals off and have it online for people to do karaoke to.
That's awesome.
Or whatever.
I like that.
They could just put it on when they're drunk with their friends, and you could have a battle, better singer or whatever the fuck. But
and you know they're going to film all that and put it online and spread it around even more.
Yeah, dude, it's brilliant. And realistically, this day and age, if everybody doesn't know how interactive I am with everybody, like I have a fan club now, and I just really, you know, actually I've been putting all my focus into the fan club because on social media, because it's the first time that I haven't had to deal with algorithms.
Right.
I don't know if you guys deal with algorithms, but I hate them.
Yeah, it's horrible.
With a passion.
Yeah, it is. and we really enjoy the Facebook fan group. That was one of our questions, so I'm glad he brought it up. It's awesome.
Yeah, people are like hella talking and like there's like a community. And that's kind of was like I you know, when it was mainly initially was going to be a 7-inch a monthly 7-inch or like like a bi-monthly 7-inch club, and then I realized I started doing it, and then I wrote an album. I was like, I can't do 7 inches. Right. I could write albums in a week. Why would I do a 7-inch? So I told everybody, I was like, that's out, but my friend Martin from Czech Republic, he went online and started the group, and he was just like, hey, just be over here and talk with everybody, and it'll be cool. And I started doing that, and the more I start doing it, the more I realized that like Facebook sucks for bands on if you have Facebook pages. It's like every time I post something, I don't even know how it's going to be engaged, because certain things I feel like if I post a link to somebody's website, I get nothing, like barely anything. Yeah. I post a picture that I have a new album coming out. It has like 700 fucking, you know, way more likes, like way more. I'm like, well, what? how is this all different? Like, what, people aren't seeing certain shit. Like, they have to click it. Like, there's so many clicks that have to happen before anybody fucking cares. Like, what's the deal? You know what I mean? And having the fan club page bypasses all of that, you know. And also, it's just a way where people can ask me questions and things. We are trying to set up some sort of live streaming thing where we play live from my studio. We haven't quite figured that out yet because there's still just so much to tackle, the lack of bass player. I've been able to finally incorporate keys in my set because I just have a drummer now that's capable of playing with in-ear monitoring with the click track, and we're able to have the keyboards back. Because, I mean, you wouldn't even want to know how hard it is to find a keyboard player in Fresno, period, let alone one that plays heavy metal and then one whose job lets him leave 2 or 3 months out of the year to go tour. It's like, it sounds like a fucking unicorn. You know, it's like, I'm looking for the fucking unicorn right now. And it's just like, so... And I felt like it was such a big part of what I've been doing as I've incorporated it into everything. And I can't even listen to it without keys anymore. It's like when I listen to Burst or Icarus, I'm like, yep, I should have done keys on those. It would sound way better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, why didn't I think of that? Like, why wasn't I prepared to make that, like, leap into synth? But the good thing is I might be one of the first ones to really do it in the Milwaukee scene. Hopefully, we'll probably see more people incorporating keys in it because of Haunt. You know, it really works, man. Like, it really, I like putting it in there. It adds low end, it adds some character, and you could do, you know, you have now you have like soundscape, you know, that's not just guitar.
Yeah, it broadens the song.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys think, but I think it was like a wise decision for me to, when I stumbled on it, I was like, done. This is great.
Yeah, I mean, and I know me and Trent talked about this, you know, when you first started doing it, it's definitely, you notice it right off the bat, and it just adds so much, and, you know, especially with Beautiful Distraction, the new one, I mean, it's just like, it was like you guys took it up another level. You took it up another level.
Oh. Yeah, I think some of it, though, too, has to do with me doing the whole album alone now. Like,
right. Before
I let people in, they weren't necessarily, like, really that involved in the process, but there was time spent where I had to teach, they had to learn it or whatever. Things were, you know, time was spent with other people. Now there was no time spent with other people, so it really gave me the time to focus on getting it done, i.e. Flashback. I got that whole thing basically written and recorded in like 6 weeks. It was like, I was really happy with how that one came out as well. But I knew after I did that one, I was like, all right, I got some more new audio equipment for my studio, and I used the re-recordings of Luminous Eyes and Mosaic Vision on one record, and tuned it to what I tuned to now, C, and added some synth and stuff to it to really kind of experiment with what I had just got, make sure, like, I was like, all right, well, I'm going to start recording with this rig. I need to learn it before I do my next record. And so Flashback gave me the finances to be able to get the stuff I needed. I mean, having a studio is expensive. I mean, I'm not even going to try to, like, not everybody has what I have. It's pretty obvious. You know, like, you could come into my studio and have all the mics, I have preamps, all the name brand shit that you would see in a recording studio, minus the nice space. I mean, I have like a fucking, you know, basic room. It's not fancy. I don't need that, though, you know?
Right.
Like, that just adds to the glamour of the aesthetic of the places usually. Like, I just need a place where I can play, you know? I don't give a fuck what it looks like. It could be, you know, whatever. You could have pictures of NSYNC all over the wall, and it'd still be like, oh, thank God I have my own place just to sit here and noodle out ideas. Like, I'm going to get them out. But I really tried to learn how to do the distraction. Really, like, I took more time doing the drums, especially with how I did the pre-production work of it. Really learn the songs, listen to them back, and then it was really quick. I did Beautiful Distraction, and even like last time, I think it only took me 4 weeks to actually like get it pretty much done. It took a little bit longer with the mix, and I actually sat on it for a while because I just didn't really know what to do with it at that time. I was like, I just put Flashback out. Let's give it a little breathing time, and then I also, wanted to spend a little bit more time with the vocals, which ended up not taking as long, but I wanted to step it up there because that seems to be one area that I still get some criticism is my voice. And I'm just like, sorry, I don't sound like fucking Bruce Dickinson, but guess what? I have to also write this shit to be able to play guitar at the same time.
Right.
Because what is Haunt without me playing the guitar? I've thought about not playing guitar, and every time I do, I'm like, well, the guitar is me. It's like part of what I do. Like I feel like if you go see a Haunt show and like you have 2 guitar players up there and I'm just singing, like that, they're just playing covers at that point. They're not going to have the same passion as I do when I play the guitar.
Right.
So there's that, and I think people don't tend, like everything is calculated. It's like I do things very formulaic. I don't give a fuck. Anybody ever said I was formulaic? I'd be like, yeah, the fuck do you think music really is? Like, I mean, it's all a formula. It's all mathematical. You have a circle of fifths. You have all these rules and all these things that you follow as a musician. You have time signatures, all of it. It is all a formula. So I could argue with people about formulaic all day because it's just how it is, period. You can be experimental, but guess what you are when you're experimental? A lot of people don't listen to your shit.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you're experimental. It's like now you gotta fucking somehow I don't like experimental music. I'll be honest with you. Like I do not like it. Like it doesn't like I hear noise. I wanna have a good time. And I think formula if there's an F in formula and there's an F in fun. So I mean those two things, like, do you want to sit there and have to remember some hard-ass lyrics, some, like, fucking long-ass shit, or you want to remember 3 words that you can scream and you could be drunk or whatever it is that you do, and it's not that complicated? Because I'll see motherfuckers out in the crowd trying to mouth the words drunk sometimes, and, I'm sober as shit when it comes to booze. I don't ever touch liquor. So I see these people, I'm like, this motherfucker is just trying to sing along. He's trying to have a good time. I'm glad he made this music for him. Like this chorus repeats itself. Like there is nothing too staggeringly experimental or complex about it. And that's again, I put myself in another challenge of moving on with the newer records. Like I'm gonna have to always try to outdo myself in a little way. And I think the way to really do that from my experience is just keep trying to get better at what I do. You know what I mean? Like the vocals get stronger because I figure out a way to like make them sound better, or my guitar playing has got tighter, or just, I'm thinking of new rhythms or new bridges or new intros, something that's not as I haven't used it as much, and you could probably listen to the records. You're going to hear big differences. Burst into Flame to Icarus, they're it started getting a little faster in Icarus. And then, you get to Mind Freeze, where I feel like that's where I really kind of figured everything out. From the synth to the dance rock songs, like the Mind Freeze, do ba do ba do ba, that kind of shit. And then I got my like mid tempo, and then I got like my thrash. So you get a little bit of everything. And I've had some criticisms about, like, some people are, some critics have said, I like the arena rock shit. This fast shit is like, no, but then I got people fucking, it's too all over the place. Like, a lot of people just like the fast shit. They're like, oh, the fucking fast shit's the best. And it's like, well, I like doing it all, because I don't really feel like I need to be the type of project where I need to worry about what I want to write. That was part of my rule with Haunt when I started working on it instead of Beastmaker, was like, whatever you write is what you're going to put on Haunt. That's what Haunt's going to be. Whatever you feel, don't be afraid. Just put yourself out there always. Like, don't shy away from something from being too poppy. Because, I mean, literally, I think Beautiful Distraction, the song, is incredibly, like, a pop number. It's, like, happy. It's, like, it doesn't, you know, it's da-da-da-da-da-da, you know, it's not crazy anything. It's very pop. It's always risky to put out shit like that. I think somebody on the new wave of traditional heavy metal YouTube page, like, they're like, they said something that sounded like 90s alt rock, but I was like, name that 90s alt rock bands, like, go check them out. Cause like,
Yeah, right.
You know, it's like they got shredding guitar solos. I'm really listening, because that's one thing I felt was like missing with a lot of pop music for me as a guitar player is like the lack of actual guitar playing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you got two guitar players and one guy does barely something different, and then you have no fucking leads. Like, what is this? So, I mean, I think a lot of people just don't know shit from Tynola. So, you know, you always got to take music opinions very loosely, you know. And I've gotten to learn that over the course of my 6 years I would only call myself a professional for my last 6 years of my life, because that's when I started Beastmaker, and that's when things, you know, I've been touring and doing, you know, getting press, people seem to give a fuck. Before that, nobody gave a fuck, and I wasn't really singing in bands anyway back then, so it wasn't really there was no good interpretation of what Trevor Church was even all about yet, you know what I mean? Nobody heard Trevor Church until they heard me sing, you know? That was the beginning of my career, and since then, you know, a lot of development, you know, there's a lot of changes and a lot of goals and a lot of weird ideas of things, you know.
So what you're saying is you weren't purposely trying to sound like Blink-182?
I like Blink-182, personally.
I saw that comment the other day that someone had made.
Yeah, and, you know, it to me, that's not even an insult. It's actually a compliment, because a guy like me, I'm not your average metalhead either, because I listen to a lot of different types of music, and the last thing I wanted to do is sound like everybody else.
Right.
You know, and to incorporate other types of music into my music. And realistically, if you really think about, I'll give you an example right now. A Blink-182 song, like, I can't even think of song names of theirs, but whatever that fucking song is.
Damn it.
Damn it. And that's a good album. I think that's the Enema of the State album, is it?
I think.
Or am I wrong?
I kind of know a few of their singles, but I don't really know full albums.
Okay. Well, anyway, you could find that same lick on the Thin Lizzy record.
Yeah.
Like Cowboy Song. It's like kind of the same. It's way cooler. I'm not gonna let Blink-182 have that win. But what I'm getting at is, like, a lot of melodies are the same.
Right.
And people, there's a lot of gatekeeper types and people that really want to be opinionated about certain things that, you know, they may not really think as critically as I do. You know, they're not thinking like, okay, well, what exactly is a metal song? You know, what makes a song metal exactly? Or what makes a person metal? Iron Maiden patch and Judas Priest patch? I don't know. You know, it's hard to really say what really that is. But the one thing that I consider heavy metal, lead guitar solos. I feel like that defined heavy metal music.
Right.
It really did. It was the big difference between rock and what people were doing, you know, before Black Sabbath. Really, you know what I mean? It's like, totally. Go listen to that, listen to their leads, and then go listen to Tony Iommi.
Yeah,
right.
You know, it really was the beginning of. I mean, you had Hendrix and shit. I mean, before Iommi, and he could have been the first heavy metal guitar player. Really, like, you could put that shit, but it's bluesy. But you put that heavy riff over it, all of a sudden now it's like you have like a genre of guitar genre. And it's kind of weird because, you know, we live in a time where guitar-oriented music is pretty much dead from top 40 music unless it's country.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, but at that time, that shit was cutting edge, man, and guitar-oriented music was very, very, very popular. Everybody wanted to be the lead guitar player. And I feel that really defines heavy metal in a sense, because when you start getting more punk, what happens? The solo gets removed. Or if there is a solo, it's really basic and it's really short. It doesn't shine. You have no shiny lead guitar player. And then, you know, you evolve more into then you get, you know, the grunge movement where you have a solo, but it's like so easy, right? Like it's too easy. You could literally be a beginner and play the solo of Nirvana.
Right.
You know, it's not gonna put you like, but hey, but try this. Try being a beginner guitar player and learning the solo to master puppets. It's not happening.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That is for me what really makes heavy metal. So you know, that and also the energy and the attitude, right? But there's a lot of things that go into it. But when you talk about somebody being like, oh, that sounds like Blink-182, I'm like, those motherfuckers could never play the song. It's impossible for them. It would be like they would have to go back to the drawing board to even try to play even the intro. Like the intro riff is too complicated for them because it has more than it has like 20 notes, and then you actually have to do arpeggios, and it's like it could get really complicated. So, you know, I look at it though as Blink-182. It's funny that we're talking about Blink-182 of all things, but I like them, but it's not like I sit here and listen to them. They're a very successful band. They wrote songs that they're in your head whether you like it or not. Yeah. So everybody has heard a Blink-182 song and can probably hum it. And to me, that is something to be said, no matter what. So the gatekeepers and all those people, they can really just kind of go fuck themselves, because it's just like, dudes, if you're that close-minded in music and you can't be, I don't know, again, it's like one of those things, if you can't be honest with who you are, then you're just a poser. You be honest, be like, yeah, I fucking like Blink, who cares?
Right.
Like, fuck do you care? Does that make me less cool than you? No, it doesn't. Yeah. So, again, you kind of have to learn, and I think something I've learned through my career is like how to take criticisms, and you know, because maybe somebody said that back when I had first started, I might have been like really concerned, but as you go on, you're like, well, actually, you know, It's like, damn it, like whatever that song, damn it. Like, I wish I wrote that fucking lick because I can hum it to you right now, and I haven't heard the song in fucking 15 years.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
and I couldn't do that for a lot of bands.
Yeah.
You know, they wrote something memorable, and so you take people's insults as positive things. You know, I always say it's better to be written about than not to be written about. It's better, you know, always. Like, you caught their attention, even if it was in a negative way.
Yeah, definitely.
They might talk to you like, oh, that band they're so fucking overrated or whatever, you know, people, you know how people are out there. You're always going to get that. It doesn't matter who you are. It's like every band gets that shit. And it's just, you know, you guys ought to go, well, maybe we are. Maybe we aren't. But we're here.
That's
I'm here.
You know, going back to solos, kind of, the solos on this record are insane, and you know, I know you had a guy come in and do them, most of them, and I just kind of wanted to hear more about that.
He did more stuff. He did it remotely, so
okay.
He sent me the tracks dry signal, and I just reamped them through an amp and put some effects on it and shit, and kind of tailor it to the sound that I had going on. His name's Philly Bibiano. He plays guitar in a band called Fortress, and if anybody has been following Hot knows that I did a split 7-inch with them And I've been kind of, I recorded the drums for their debut record that's supposed to be coming out at some point in time. But I've worked with him a lot in his band, and I realized one of the really key things to the future for me, something that I could look forward to, is how I have a lot of friends that are really great guitar players.
Mhm.
And I was like, you know what, it'd be cool just like, even if you can't be in the band, like, why not just play a solo? Write a cool solo here. Because I like the idea of two lead guitars. That's always been kind of the key to what I do, is because there's dual guitar riffs all the time. It's just part of the sound. So I had to find somebody that I already knew, felt comfortable with, and liked, and somebody that like knows me well enough to, even though I know there's a lot of people that could say that about me, because I'm really outgoing in that light of, being friendly and whatnot. Philly is just a good guitar player, good guy. We get along splendidly, and he crushed it. I gave him a couple of them didn't make the cut, and I made him go back and redo them. But other than that, the dude is flawless. Like, he really added a lot, and I'm going to kind of miss him on this next one. I might have him do one solo, but he fucking nailed it, man. I think that he and I together really did some wonders for this record.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah.
It definitely stepped it up a lot. Like, if you go back and you listen to Flashback, there's some all right stuff, and John did a couple solos on that one, and they were okay. But I mean, when I heard Philly's solos, I was just like, dude, what the fuck? This guy's a monster. I was just like, I had to step it up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I had to ramp up my game. I started hearing this shit, and I'm like, oh shit, Trev, go back. Go back and redo that one. You know what I mean? It's like, put me in the hot seat for a second, where it's like, oh man, dude. But again, one of those things, it's like, I started doing the record, and he came in. He was the first person I thought of. He was the first dude. I was like, you know what, dude, this guy, he writes kind of Ozzy-ish style songs, and I'm definitely a huge Ozzy person. And I was just like, me and this guy are man. I wish he lived nearby. If he lived in Fresno, he would be the guitar player. That's
Right.
just obvious. Like, he probably would say the same. I don't see why he wouldn't. But he lives in Southern California, which is like 4 hours away. You can't be in the band. You know what I mean? Like, I have to rehearse. Like, I'm trained. I look at touring and playing as like I'm training for the Olympics. I'm not trying to just like get together for a week before a tour and like just try to hash it out. It's like, fuck no, I need to be like, I want my, I'm going to like all the people I interact with online. It's like, it's game day. I need to be fucking Jose Canseco today and hit a fucking homer. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to be some fucking like lazy, like musician that's not really, taking it to the next level. And that's the other thing, when you got a 20 album goal, taking it to the next level is what it takes to get that. I can't even name a band that has 20 albums.
Yeah. Outside
Can
of
you
maybe,
think of one off the top of your head? Maybe Iron Maiden.
I know like AC/DC, but even that, it's like their
Yeah,
last
like
one
40
came out like
albums.
8 years after the one.
If you want to talk about formulaic, Jesus Christ, I mean, that
Yeah.
band.
I saw a thing. Cheap Trick just released that. I think it was their 19th or 20th.
And look how long they've been around.
Right.
I'm trying to do this shit by like in 7 years. Like,
you're way
maybe
ahead of
that's
the game,
better.
dude.
Maybe it's better when you don't have time in between. That's what I keep telling everybody. It's like, I'm inspired right now. Why stop?
Yeah.
I feel like the second that I like take a break, it's gone.
Mhm.
I won't have it anymore.
Well,
Seriously, look at Metallica, for fuck's sake. Take like 4 years to do a record, and then you come out with Load. And I know some people like that shit, but I don't.
yeah.
Sounds good. It's a really good sounding album. I will give them that. They have killer guitar tone on that record, and James, he's real clear on that one. Like, there's good stuff, but it's just not I don't know. It's just a style. Like they changed with the fashion. They were trying to make a fashion statement.
Yeah, it took me a
And
while.
they never got back.
It took
They
me a
never
while
got
to
back.
get into
They
that
tried
album.
to get it back. They tried. Did you like Load, or were you like, eh?
I didn't like it when it came out, but I like it now. But Jason,
Okay.
that's his band, and so he's got a different opinion.
I
on
mean,
it.
I liked Load. I think Reload was the one that, like, I don't know. There's maybe 3 or 4 good songs, but that's kind of where they, for me, I get it. They want to do something different. You know, sometimes back then bands had to do that to stay alive. I don't know. That's a whole other
Well, the first time I
conversation.
saw the picture of Kirk Hammett and Lars Ulrich wearing eyeliner,
Right.
tonguing each other,
Yeah.
I was just kind of like, what the fuck is
Yes.
going on? Like,
That was
like,
more jarring than the music.
I was like, what is going? What
Right.
happened to their long hair, skate attitude, and like, I'm like, what is going on here? They went straight like Corn, you know. I don't know, like it was just. But again, it wasn't like they're so amazing. I mean, you look at their first records and shit, and just how fucking phenomenal. It doesn't matter that they sucked after that. I could actually care less because I got what I wanted out of Metallica. I feel, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they gave me a lot,
Right.
and just because, but it was just like one of those things. Again, if we're just talking about the break, you know, like 4 years between records. And, you know, you come back and it's like, what is this shit? Right. I thought heavy metal died. You know, when Load came out, I was like, well, heavy metal is no more. Like, see you later. Now what? You know, it was like, now what? It was, because I'm going to be 40 this year, so I was a teenager during these times. And I remember, like, all right, well, at least I got Megadeth still. And then Megadeth put out fucking Risk.
Oh,
like, oh God. I'm just like, what? These bands suck. And then it really, you know, there was only a couple metal bands that really had caught me, and they even felt Sepultura. I was a huge Sepultura fan. And then they got to Roots, and I was just like, I don't like this either.
Yeah.
You know, I just wasn't feeling it. And then, so after that, you know, the only other band, and they kind of always have stayed really true to form, is Obituary.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they've never changed, ever. Like, they are Obituary. You know what I mean? It's like,
right. Yeah,
the vocals have been the same forever. They're like, they've always been one of those metal bands that I always liked all the way through. They never disappointed me. But that wasn't enough to keep me interested. I got really into punk after Metallica started sucking. I call it their suck era because it was just like, I didn't even care anymore. I was just like, what am I going to do with this shit? You know? And then when they did Saint Anger, I was just like, when they saw the video, I was like, what is this?
Yeah, that was really the unlistenable one.
It is intolerable. Yeah. Like it is, and it actually, I believe it went platinum. So, Congratulations to Metallica. You could literally put out a turd and have a platinum record for it. Not only sonically is it one of the worst sounding things I ever heard, the music's terrible on top of it.
Yeah.
And went platinum.
I would agree with you on that. I will.
Okay, but Metallica is the greatest band that ever walked the face of the earth.
Exactly.
So we can definitely all probably agree there that they are, no matter what, you can't help but love them.
Yes.
No matter what. Like, I love James Hetfield. Like, he is an idol to me like no other. But do I wish he grew his hair back? I have a fucking theory, man. If James grew his hair back out and didn't let Lars write any lyrics, we would have a good Metallica album.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm all for it.
And get rid of that fucking goddamn shitty guitar. Go get his old fucking Gibson back.
Yes.
Stop playing new guitars. Play your fucking beater. You know, I think I think you got to be a little rugged sometimes. It's like it's cool to have new shit, but beat it up for a little bit. Get it road fucking worn.
There you go.
Don't change a new guitar, new shiny guitar all the time, man. You've got to be a little bit. Metallica was like they're part of their fucking class back in the days. They didn't give a fuck and they looked terrible. James's shoes by Master. I think he wore the same shoes from Kill 'Em All, the Master of Puppets.
Yeah, they're all
before he
ripped
actually
up.
got a new pair of shoes. And it's like that was like the steez. It was like, all right, I dig that. I dug that about them, and I feel like music needs that a little bit. When you get too glam, it really the music could suffer.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's something to be said for the rawness of it, kind of the more organic approach.
You have to be living it. If you live in it, you're not fucking there, man. Like, you kind of have to have that, you kind of have to have that shitty pair of shoes to really be, you can't be laced up in Tommy Hilfiger and shopping on Rodeo Boulevard and be like, yeah, man, I'm fucking thrash metal, bro. It ain't gonna fucking, it's just, no, man. I mean, yeah, but no, all in the same. It's like, you have to find the in-between. You have to be like, all right, hey, wife, I don't know James' wife's name, but hey, I'm going to go live in this shitty house for a little bit. I'm going to write some songs and there's just going to be pizza boxes everywhere. And I'm just going to get on a mission and write like a killer record. I think they're too comfortable, and I don't mean that in any negative ways. I think they're again, like they're a big inspiration to me. So I don't want anybody taking it the wrong way. It's just perspective of years of studying them. I studied Metallica religiously. I think most heavy metal people probably was their first band they ever heard that was heavy metal. You know what I mean? Who knows? Like I'm getting a little up there, but for a lot of people, Metallica might have been the first. It definitely changed my perspective, and you probably don't. Nobody will probably really hear any Metallica influence in my music that much, but it really it got me into lead guitar playing and stuff. So definitely there is an influence to it. It just doesn't. I feel like they're too hard of a band to kind of copy as well. Like, you can't really copy Metallica.
Yeah.
So it's hard to be like, all right, we're going to have a band like Metallica. You just can't. It's not possible.
Right.
So, it's better just to have, your own thing. And, that's where we usually as musicians, we come to a narrow crossing where it's like, well, what do I have? Like, what's my sound going to be? That's a tough one, to find your sound. I mean, I was think about it for a minute. How does a band find their sound? They just go, well, we like all these bands. That's generally the beginning of it. It's like, these are the bands we like. This is what we're going to sound like. But does anybody ever go, well, what can I don't want to be like these bands. I know there's people like that because that's how things are born. And, for me, it was, I don't really think that there's a lot of bands that sound like Haunt per se. What do you guys think? I want your opinion now. I'm interviewing you guys now.
No, I know what you mean. I mean that, and I think that's why when I first heard you guys, I kind of glommed on so quick, is because it filled some kind of void. I can't. I'm not good. I'm not a good descriptive person, but the best way I can put it is it filled some kind of void that I was missing, and then to kind of go back to what we were talking about a little bit ago is Flashback and Mind Freeze came along with kind of the synth and the fuller sound. It really it was like it really came in vivid color. So I mean,
yeah,
that's kind of my take on Haunt.
Well, that kind of, so with that being said, it's like there are bands that are similar. I've been, Cauldron being one of them, but even though I think there is a lot of differences between the two, I definitely incorporate way more thrash in my stuff than they do. That might be a California thing, you know, because like that beat, that is like
right.
that. I'm almost a believer that might have been invented in California at this point.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
I don't know. I could be mistaken, but I mean, it wasn't really super prevalent in new wave or British heavy metal music that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Maybe Def Leppard, maybe, but not at that speed. I think it is very California. It's very thrash. It's very punk, and I'm talking like that Venice Beach punk, that Southern California punk,
Yeah.
that I grew up around and listening to. So it's really important for me to keep my heritage of music close, even though, you know, Aussie influence and the British influence is big. But I
Right.
think rhythmically, I kind of adapt to that skate culture. And I think that's what really, you know, separates me from a lot, is that it's just enough different to really go, well, this dude kind of figure out his own sound. And people have been saying that lately, and that's why I say that, because it's not just my outlook on it, but it seems like everybody else's was like, I'm starting to have this distinguishable sound of like, when you hear it, you go, that's Haunt. You could tell, you know. And there's bands out there you can't tell who they are. You're like, it's kind of sounds like Iron Maiden, but it isn't. Or, you know, you go down the list of what it is. And then I also don't, you know, I one big rule I had of myself is just to really try to write like lyrics that are relatable in ways that are not fantasy driven, or stories, just things that happen in life. And I think that is that's a challenge too, to write like that. Oh my God. I mean, sometimes I'm just like, well, what else is there to dig into? And then shit just always happens. Like this last year, I got fucking audited by the IRS, and then I got my identity stolen, and they got I had to pay a bunch of money for some shit. It's just like insane. Like, you know, I'm like, well, there's some new life experience. You know, it's like, holy shit. You know, it's like, I thought, well, I mean, I'm not going to write about it, but it gives me something to, if you like, what do you say there? Fuck the IRS. I mean, like, that's really, I mean, even though it wasn't that big of a deal, it was just like more of a burden, because you have to like I had to put together like 2 years of paperwork, go through like 3 interviews with this woman. It was just like so stressful, all while doing Beautiful Distraction too. It was great. I was like, oh my God. I was like, I'm getting ready to put out an album, and I'm fucking being audited right now. Like, why? Like can't you wait a month? You know what I mean? It's like, we postpone till fucking I'm like life is normal. But it hit me with a ton of bricks, and that's usually how these things happen. And they always get me. I'm working on a new album now, of course. I mean, you should almost assume that if I put out an album, I already have the next one done.
Right.
Because that's kind of how it goes. But I've been working on that one, and you know, and some of it definitely, I tap that vein. It's weird. It's weird how that works. It's like, you think you might run dry lyrically. I'll run dry lyrically before I run dry at riffs. I can tell you that right now. It's fucking 100% fucking definite. Harder to write lyrics than it is to write riffs.
Is this new one something you're doing entirely? Are you playing everything yourself on this new one as well? Or the next one?
That's gonna be the format indefinitely.
Okay.
I'm never going back.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's done. It's done. There's no way. It doesn't make sense, because with how many records I want to do, I don't want to have to teach a band an entire album to play 2 songs from it.
Right. Well,
because I mean, I'm already trying to figure out how the sets are going to be now. Because part of me, I want to leave like what we already toured Burst in the Flame, we've already toured Icarus, we've already toured Mind Freeze, but we never really played a lot off Mind Freeze, and I never got to play it with keys either, and that's a whole other story. That Mind Freeze tour, I was really I might have looked happy, but inside I had a huge gaping hole that was just eating away at me. I'm like, I want fucking keyboards on this. This does not feel right. I wrote it with keyboards, and I don't have. So I was really feeling like a little bit like there's some insecurity live. There's a lot of things that were going, and I tried to get everybody to do what I wanted to, and it just wasn't working. try to have backing tracks. It's fucking fiasco. But like, you know, it's like for me, I'm like, well, yeah, I love the songs off Burst in the Flame, but I want to play new shit. Like I played all this stuff, so it's been really hard to kind of like come up with the new set. But it also kind of feels good because it's like we're doing songs that never, you know, I never played live and with new guys. So there's no like old memory of things or anything like, you know, oh, it's weird. I used to, you know, do this with John or what, you know what I mean? Like just those things that, you know, so it's been a real challenge trying to like figure out like how many songs per album do I actually play, you know, with all things considered. It's hard. It's like, fuck. And then I have another album that'll be out in January before the first tour, which is in April. So I put out three albums that I couldn't tour. I don't care though. That means nothing to me because again, like my goals are just way different because I'm trying to like write, like it's more of like, I want to write all these albums and grow and get better. I want to prove to myself that I can do a lot of records and make them good. Like I don't want any bullshit shit record. Like I will not even. It's not even an option for me. And I want to see if I can fucking do it. And I can tell you right now, I get in my 50s. You know, if I do an album a year, I'll be like 56 years old. I might be too tired by then, man.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking kidding. I mean,
Yeah.
It's real. I'm 40 and I'm already like, man, you know, it's you know, you start to really feel you know, I've been playing guitar every day for years. Bass, drums. My wrists are fucked, man. Like it's just how it is. It's like musicians get tennis elbow severely. So you know, we suffer for the art. And, you know, there's also, you know, life goes on. There's new things. Like I want to be a producer. I want to produce bands that play cool shit and keep things alive, you know, like I want to discover someone one day, you know what I mean? And be like, check this out. I recorded this shit.
Yeah.
Right.
You know? There's a whole other realm to all this. Like I've been spending all the money that I make and all that shit. I buy studio shit all the time. I'm like, you know, I've already started this fucking process. It's not a glamorous room to come in, and it probably never will be. Even if I upgrade, it's still probably going to be a cluttered mess. You know what I mean? Because that's just the way I am. You know, it's like I don't. You know, it's like, yeah, I'd love to have some like state of the art fucking architecture. You know, everything is beautiful, but I'm just not that guy, I guess.
Like as far as you mentioned with the live stuff, and you're wanting to, you know, play newer stuff, and I always appreciate when bands like focus on the new album, but at the same time, at the rate you put out albums and the content you have, there's probably a lot. Like I've never seen you live, and there's a lot of people that might have seen you once or twice. So how do you weigh that as far as like, well, these people want to hear a few of these songs from the early albums?
That's exactly been the thing is like, which song do we keep? Which songs do we keep in rotation? And how, you know, one of the things that I've talked to with this new live band, which we didn't have with the previous live band, we didn't know all the songs. And one of the things that has been really important now is we're trying to know it all. So, and part of that, in doing that, at least trying to, you find out which ones feel the best live, and that's pretty much how I'm going to pick them, is by which one has the best feel to it. And just always, you know, there's always room in your set for your old shit. It's just how it is. So, you know, you're always going to get something off Burst. You might get less off Icarus, and you're going to get stuff off Mind Freeze. You'll definitely hear Mind Freeze probably forever, you know. That one I feel has been really well received when I played live. I'm like, wow, a lot of people know this song, you know, and Light the Beacon and stuff. I mean, I don't know. I haven't really quite figured it out yet, and it's not really more about, like, even with the new albums, it's more, I'm being picky. It's like 2 songs, 3 songs, you know? So it's not like we're going out there and going to be playing the whole new record. It's going to be, it's the greatest hits. It's greatest hits up there. And probably what we think is the greatest hits, because we have to play it. So we want to make sure it's like the songs are coming off strong. We have the vibe. We like it. It's cohesive. It's been I'm so short-lived, man. 2018, like 3 years, maybe and some change into Haunt. There's still a lot, I still we just had this, we practiced today and had a meeting, and, we talked about things that need to happen. We got to do photographs because we got, I hate that, Beautiful Distractions out, and I'm seeing these recycled pictures from Mind Freeze of all the old guys and people tagging John, Taylor, and all that. And I'm like, well, that's really incorrect, and it probably makes them feel kind of weird too, So I'm like, we got to get on some stuff. We got to get more stuff, more content. We're talking about more music videos. We're trying to figure out a way that maybe we can streamline music videos like how I have with the album, find a place where we could do it and just kind of do the same music video with different shit. I don't know. It's more or less just trying to keep people entertained. I'm not really worried live. Live, I've always had a lot of energy, and I always give it my all. So I think that area will always be okay. But, I definitely would like to have, I think with the keys, honestly, I think when people hear I don't really like the idea of playing the backing tracks because, obviously I'd rather have a keyboard player. But like I said, it's like finding a fucking unicorn. I've had an ad in Craigslist for fucking 2.5 years. You know what I mean? It's like, I wanted a keyboard player in Beastmaker. I've always wanted a keyboard player. You can't find a keyboard. You can't. It's it's so fucking rare. And especially to find one that likes heavy metal.
Right.
You almost would have to train them. So I just don't live in the right place for it. So you have to adapt. You adapt to the situation. And I think when people hear Haunt with the keyboards, how it's supposed to sound, it actually already upped the production of the live show right out the gate. Because it's all there now. It's like when we were playing Light the Beacon without the fucking intro. Dang, dang. I hated it. How can you not have the fucking little John Carpenter intro?
Right.
It's like every time we fucking went into it, I was just like, well, that's missing. It's like, at least if people know what's going to happen with the ear. Down, bang. You know what I mean? It has so much more energy and more impact. And so I think it's a good thing. I always look at things like this too. Things happen for a reason. And I know that sounds like a fucking cop-out, but truly, I think that the change in tide had to come for me to really have the vision how I wanted. I needed a guy that could play drums to a click live without, complaining or worrying about technology. He has all that. He has the wit to get it done. And I have the faith in him for him to do it. You know what I mean? Me trying to teach somebody how to do something that they have to do and then they can't do it makes me really fucking nervous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Imagine teaching, you say your mom didn't know how to drive a stick shift and you got a fucking brand new Ferrari. And you're like, all right, Mom, first gear. She just fucking grinds it.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, shit. You don't want your mom driving your fucking Ferrari.
Right.
So, it was very hard to, and, again, that's one of the reasons that Wolfie got let go is because he wasn't really willing to learn the technology on his own, leaving me to do it for him. That does no good for anybody. I can't be the guy that presses play. You feel me? And I don't have the click track in my ear. I have to fucking sing. You think I got a click track in my ear while I'm singing?
Right.
Jesus Christ, man. Give me a fucking break here. You want to talk about annoying? I'd probably kill myself fucking hearing beep, 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 beep. And singing, it's bad enough a drummer has to do it. But a good drummer and a professional drummer will do it for the cause. And the cause is to have those keyboards in the goddamn music.
That should be on a t-shirt.
Seriously, I mean, really, I mean, it's like, I mean, that would, to me, that should have been a real fucking easy one to do. You want to stay in my band, learn the fucking technology. You don't want to fucking try. It just shows me the work ethic. Like, we're not a cut of the same cloth. Because me, when I don't know how to fucking do something, I learn how to do it.
Yeah.
I will stay up all goddamn night. I will give myself fucking 5 nervous breakdowns to get the job done. You know, like that's just the type of guy I am, though.
Is the tour you have that you're booking for next April, is that in Europe or is that in America?
It's just going out to the Hell's Heroes Festival in Texas and back home.
Okay.
It's just going to be mainly West Coast. It's going to be North and South, but Southwest.
Where
But
in
I think
Texas
it's a good start. It's a good start because, I mean, really, is the world really open to things? Nothing's normal right now, man. I mean, look what just happened in Minnesota again. We're like back at square one.
Yeah.
I feel like we were just
sad.
here not even like that long ago, and here we are again. People just really hate each other, and there's a lot of hate and a lot of violence and a lot of animosity, which is understandable on all kinds of levels. So it's a really tough thing to really like go, oh yeah, shows are coming back, everything's going to be fine. Shows are, June 15th, California is open. Now, we also have to remember that this is a global pandemic, and just because the United States is seeing a vaccine, if we don't fucking vaccinate the entire globe, we're going to have super variants. We're going to have all these things, and we're going to be back here again.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, man. I look at it in all kinds of different ways, and yeah, we're at the tail end. We're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, but who fucking knows? And I'd love to say that we're going to go out and do like a full U.S. tour, and I'd planned that actually, and that tour fell through. So that one's out, but it will be something that will be done. There's no way that it's not going to happen. It's just a matter of when. You know what I mean? When is it going to fucking take place? And hopefully soon. I mean, 2022, it seems, sadly, seems the most realistic.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you guys say? I mean, like, what's going on in Oklahoma?
Oklahoma, it's been more open than most states for a bit now.
I mean, but you guys, how many fucking bands are touring through that you like?
Oh, it's happened here or there, like one or two, but not at all.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing, to write home about. And, I mean, they're going to open it back up April 30th. But I think everyone's still going to kind of do their own thing, A lot of people wear masks, a lot of people don't. And I think
I don't really want to play super social distance shows, to be honest.
I get that totally. Yeah, it's kind of weird. It has to be.
And that's why I'm like more like April 2022, and I still think there will be social distancing.
Yeah.
But I think by that time, nobody's going to give a fuck about it anymore if things are going correct.
Yeah.
If the world can go in a straight line, then I think by April next year, 1 year from now, a lot of these guidelines will be like yesterday's news. Even if they're still put in place, people are going to be like, well, I'm fucking vaccinated. You're vaccinated. Everybody's fucking vaccinated. We can stand next to each other. Fuck it. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's where we need to get to. And once we're there, then I think like it's going to be a lot more fun. And plus, making people wait is always good too.
Right,
yeah.
Right. The
anticipation. It means way more. You're like, oh shit, Haunt's coming through. I've not been through here in years.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And you might not, because I'm not only am I Haunt, I'm also Rex's dad.
Yeah,
exactly.
So, I'm not that guy. I'm not that fucking rock guy that wants to leave his fucking family behind at all. Like, it just really irks me. I'm not going to be well when I go on tour. I'm going to tell you right now what I'll be thinking about. Being home is what I'm going to be thinking about. until I hit the stage. When I hit the stage, it's all about rock and roll. But when I'm just sitting in the van or driving or sitting in my hotel room, be wishing I was at home. You know,
Yeah,
especially since I don't party, there's nothing to dull the pain. I'll be really actually thinking about it.
Yeah.
You know, like my little dude doesn't have his dad right now, and I'm out here just like. But hopefully one day, you know, what I'll end up doing is I'll be like Eddie Van Halen. I'll fire my bassist and then have my son come in.
Bingo.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking like if he's 10 and he can play my shit, yeah, he's homeschooled now, dude. He's going on tour. I'm like, let's just go, dude. I'll teach you. You know, there's life lessons that you learn on the road, and you could be a doctor later in your life or whatever you want to be if you don't want to be a musician. But let's rock out, you know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a cool thing that, you know, almost everybody doesn't get the chance to do, you know? So.
There's no way that he's not going to be musical. My whole fucking family is. It's just in our blood. Like, it's just, if you don't play one thing, you're playing the other.
Yeah.
If you don't play, you sing good. That's kind of how the story goes in my family. You know, so it's kind of a weird thing. So
you need to get to a point to where you can record a song that has your son on it when he's old enough and has your dad on it and have 3 generations.
You know, I've been really thinking about my dad a lot lately about getting him on this next one. The problem is I just think his arthritis is too bad to play fast anymore. It sounds terrible to laugh about, but fuck, dude, he's 75. I don't know if he could do it.
Right.
I seriously don't know if he's up, because I play all the fucking time. It's like he's going to have to come in up against me right now, even though at one time he was one of the greatest in the world.
Right.
Now he has to fucking go up against his son that practices every day.
Yeah.
And doesn't have severe arthritis either, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't, dude, it ain't good for him, but I want him to be more involved, and we've been doing a lot of stuff where, you know, my dad has a book coming out. I helped him orchestrate with Martin Popoff. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
Yeah.
Martin Popoff.
Yes.
He's a great writer, journalist for heavy metal music. And he's writing my dad's memoir of sorts. And I orchestrated the whole thing. And I have a big job to do this year with getting all the photos together, getting the, you know, obviously I'm going to have the art done for the cover, you know, probably haunt style of things, make sure it looks real fucking cool. And, you know, I think it would be cool to have my dad in on a song, and maybe, you know, I really honestly, I hope my dad lives long enough to where all 3 of us could be on a song together.
Yeah.
Like, I hope Rex is better than me, you know, like really, it's like, I have, you know, maybe he'll fucking destroy me musically. Who knows?
Yeah, that's what most people want from their kids, right?
Dude, I did not have all this shit growing up. My dad didn't have a recording studio. Like, this kid has so much musical shit that, like, how could you not play? It's just destiny. Like, he will play even if he doesn't want to, and not because I force him, just because it's here. You know what I mean? It's like, he's already grabbing. Dude, he gets on the drum set. He's so small. He's only 2. Not even 2 yet. And he knows what the kick drum does. He sits there on the beater. He can't really reach the snare drum and the kick drum at the same time. But he's already aware. You know? He knows. He knows what they do. So he knows guitar stuff too, but obviously you're too small at that age. But he sees me doing it. It's just, you know, you end up being a little bit like your parents, no matter if you want to or not.
Yeah.
It's just kind of human nature to where it's like, you're like, oh shit, I'm becoming my parents. Everybody, even during your rebellion teen years, when you think you're not being like your parents, you probably are.
Yeah.
I don't have to go, but I've been basically dominating your interview. But that's pretty normal for an interview with Trevor.
Well, no, I mean that's what we want, and that's what we hope for. So we really appreciate you taking this time with us tonight.
Yeah, man. But there is new record, January, February 2022. I haven't quite figured out yet, but there will be a release then. So that's something to kind of look forward to. I think it's going to be the best record I've ever done, period. I don't think I will ever be able to match it. I hope I can, but I have some really good riffs on the side right now that I'm like, okay, well, these are all contenders, but until I put lyrics on them and finish them up, this is going to be a really good record, and I'm really excited about it. And I don't really know about guest guitar players yet, but I think that might start becoming a thing for me. And I've already talked to my guitar player that's playing in the live band about it. I'm like, look, do you want to come play? Come. He's more of a type that likes to learn songs more than write them, which might be a huge benefit for a guy like me. Because, you found a guy that's like, he's nerdy because he sits there and learns all the technicalities and things and likes other people's shit, but doesn't really write their own stuff that much. It might be, that might be a really good thing. But I was like, you should come play if you can, give it a shot. And if it sucks, I'll fucking tell you. You know what I mean? I'll be like, nope. I have no problem saying no. That's one thing. I'm like, no, this ain't, no. I know it needs to go there. And if you can't do it, I'll do it. But I've been kind of trying to wrap my brain. If I definitely want to, give Billy some more love. He did a great job with Beautiful Distraction, and he's a phenomenal musician. And if people are listening to, give Fortress a listen, great band, and Philly is a force to be reckoned with for sure. He's a young dude, so he has a lot more years than me left in him. He's like 25. I'm like 40. You know what I mean? It's like, if he can fucking spread his wings and make it happen, he could be unstoppable. It's just hard. It's a different time of music where, again, like I said, guitar-oriented music is not dominating the charts. So you have to be really creative on how to make a living as a musician, and it's only going to get harder. I mean, I've been really studying Spotify lately, which everybody probably knows. I hate Spotify. I do not use Spotify. Mainly because I just don't like billionaire CEOs that pay the artists that basically build his platform get paid pennies. It's like you get 1 million plays, you get $3,000.
Right.
To me, that seems weird. It just doesn't seem right.
Yeah, makes no sense.
You should get 1 penny per play. I mean, really? Is that hard? You could probably go find all those. I mean, like, I don't know how all those things work with ad revenues. I don't know what they charge and stuff, but I'm sure I've run ads and they're not cheap. Right. And to run an ad for like a year, dude, that's some serious loot.
Yeah.
Serious.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, and especially at a prime slot with a app that has millions of users. It's a fucking no-brainer. If you're selling an ad, if I was Daniel X, CEO of Spotify, and well, he doesn't do marketing, but their marketing person is probably like, yeah, we got like 10 fucking million people using our app on a daily basis, and this is how, you could literally, since it's all internet based, the logistic analytics side of it, you could just give a fucking spreadsheet, be like, here's the prime time. This is how many fucking people are listening. We put your 15-second ad here. We want $5 million.
Yeah.
That big company is going to be like, all right, $5 million, nothing. Write it off on your taxes.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like, that's how the fucking world works. And, you got to play the game. And I have to play the game with Spotify eventually again. I did an experiment without it, and the experiment was successful. But at the end of the day, I want distribution, and distribution companies require you to be on Spotify.
Right.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
You can't get around it.
Yeah.
You cannot get around it. They want a piece of it.
Yeah.
They will not give you the distro without it. So you have to, once again, you succumb to the corporate man, even though I want to be as DIY as possible. It's somehow, every turn of the corner, it's like a little bit less realistic, but yet still is. Some of the dream stays alive. But other than that, I don't really know. I don't really have any other news yet, except for I definitely plan to hit the road as soon as as soon as life is a little bit more, we'll see how this tour goes in April. You know what I mean? It's too hard to say. Once that tours get done, and I see what's like out there, who knows? And as long as Haunt's a band, somebody is going to want to take us on the tour. Somebody's going to want to tour with us, and we'll be out there kicking ass. But in the meanwhile, keep an eye out for the music video thing, because we are going to start really trying to. My new guitar player, luckily, that's something he does for a living. He does video and photo editing as a part of his career. So I'm like, well, we might as well take advantage of this, because this is something I haven't quite nailed, is music videos. And I was even telling him, we could go back. We could do old songs. I'm like, if we could figure out a way to make it cool, we put it up there. It's not no big deal. Shit don't need to be. We're not trying to be Steven Spielberg here. It's just trying to have some content for people who have a little visual to go along with their shit, And then, like I said, the instrumental stuff, and then maybe this next year you might hear Mind Freeze as a synth record. I mean, who knows?
I would
hope
be
so.
on the lookout, yeah, for sure.
Dude, I listen to it sometimes with no guitar, and it trips me out because it works. It shouldn't. Technically, it shouldn't work, but I take everything out, and then I'm like, okay, this is weird, but good. I've even had a friend over one time. He's not big on heavy metal, at all. Just an old friend who likes rap and shit. And I played it for him, both versions. And he was like, "Hey man, I hate to say this to you, but it sounds way better without guitar." I was like, "Fuck!" I was like, "Fucking, you might as well cut off, saying that to me, you might as well cut my fucking hand off."
Yeah, a dagger to the heart there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, bro, you like my fucking keyboard playing, which is shit in comparison to all this hard work I've fucking put in all these years. God damn it.
Well, thanks again for taking all this time with us. Really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, this is great.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
It's good to talk to you guys again, and best of luck with everything. And I'm sure we'll get around to this corner again eventually.
Absolutely.
There you go. Trevor William Church of Haunt. A huge thank you to him for not only joining us, but talking to us there for almost 2 hours. So that was very cool, because normally our only episodes that have gone that long or longer have been, set down ones at my house or something.
Right.
We had Sid Falk from Overkill, formerly of Overkill.
That was 18 hours long.
Yeah. We split that one up into 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we had a really
9 hours each.
Yeah. We had a really long one with Travis Davis one time, and some of our other ones we've done on our own, the best of in the years and that kind of thing. But to sit down and talk to a guy like this that's, in the grand scheme of our lives as far as music goes, he's relatively new to us, the last few years.
Right.
And talk to him about all the stuff he's got going on after you kind of turned me on to him, and I know you became a massive fan, and so have I. So.
Right, yeah. I remember I'd kind of heard the name Haunt, but I wasn't really sure. But then when we had Eric Kluber on, and he was telling us, you guys got to check out Haunt.
Oh,
and
really?
that was when I did, and I was like, holy shit.
Okay, I forgot that happened. Okay.
Yeah, that was... So you have Eric Kluber to thank for that.
There you go, people. If you're not familiar with Eric Kluber, he's a phenomenal guitarist. He's part of Void Vader, formerly a part of Ironite, Gypsy Hawk, White Wizard. All kinds of great stuff from Eric Kluber to check out. He also put out the No Legacy vinyl compilation of a lot of bands from that California area, just like Void Vader and Haunt are. So that's something else to check out. And he's been on this podcast twice. So is Trevor now, and his last time was episode 247, if you want to check that out, exactly 70 episodes ago. So glad to have Trevor back and talk about the new album and the album he's got coming in 2022 and beyond. So I'm sure we'll have him back on here another day.
I hope so.
Yeah. So if this is your first time to check us out, you got a ton you can dig back through. We've had on guys from Testament, Megadeth, like I said, Overkill, Death Angel. Trying to think of the metal stuff like that, but I mean, we've had on the sludgy stuff like Crowbar and I Hate God and Superjoint, Corrosion and Conformity, Clutch, guys from Killswitch Engage, Typo Negative, Life of Agony. super long list that also includes guys from Kiss and Guns N' Roses and Def Leppard and Motley Crue even. So dig back through that list. It's all at thethunderunderground.com. You can listen there. You can also find all our socials, so like us everywhere. Wherever you're listening right now, subscribe if you haven't so you don't miss any future episodes. Speaking of future episodes, we've got Jordan Griffin from Them Evils. He's the front man for Them Evils coming up very soon. We've also got a couple other things scheduled that we'll announce as soon as they happen. We've had Dirty Honey on here last week, so that's quite a bit different than Hot, but it's all great rock and roll, so check it all out. Yep. Once again, we appreciate you listening. A huge thank you goes to Trevor of Haunt, Med Farm, DEB Concerts, Sunset Tattoo, and Hell Hot Hot Sauce. And until next time.
Thunder Underground, y'all.